Muslims believe that all of the prophets gave guidance as well as instructions to their people about how to give worship to God as well as live their lives. Now, since Muslims view God as one, the message that the prophets shared throughout time was one and the same as well. There are, however, some prophets that, according to Islamic belief, have left their mark on the faith in very unique ways. Welcome back to another episode. My name is Leroy Kenton, and here are 10 of the most influential prophets in the Islamic faith. Many of you guys have been asking for us to do more videos about prophets in Islam, so let's take a look. We got 10 of them, so let's just jump straight into this episode. At number 10, we have the prophet Jonah. Now, he is traditionally viewed as very important in Islam and also a very faithful prophet of Allah because Allah used him to deliver a very powerful message. And Jonah, by the way, is the only one of the 12 minor prophets to be mentioned by name in the Quran. In Surah 21 verses 87 as well as Surah 68 verses 48, Jonah is called Dul Nun, meaning the one of the fish. Next at number 9, we have the prophet Zechariah. Now, the prophet Zechariah was very prominent prophet in Israel, and he was one of the descendants of the prophet Suleiman, which we'll talk about later on in this episode. He and his wife also belonged to the family of the prophet Harun. The prophet Zechariah was a patron of Mary, who was the mother of prophet Isa or Jesus. He was also known to be the father of the prophet John the Baptist. The prophet at number 8 is Adam. The prophet Adam was the first man on earth along with his wife named Hawa, which is known as Eve in the English language. Adam belongs to 25 prophets that have been mentioned in the Quran, and according to different narrations by different Islamic scholars, Adam lived for about 1,000 years after his creation, and the prophet Adam has been mentioned in the Quran in several different verses. Among those, verses 30 to 38 from Surah 2, as well as verses 11 to 25 of Surah Al-Araf, which is the 7th surah in the Quran. Also, according to popular Islamic tradition, the children of Adam and Eve, they were born as twins, meaning that in this sense, every baby boy was born together with a baby girl. Prophet Suleiman, aka Solomon, is up next. He was a king and he was a very righteous man, and Muslims really look a lot to his life, how he took special care to make sure that the knowledge of God stayed in his mind, as well as he was very obedient to God, and for that he prospered. Now, King Solomon is revered as a prophet by Christians, Muslims, and even Jews. The main points about his life can be divided into 3 sections, which we talked a lot about in our episode that was specifically about the prophet Solomon. I highly recommend that one if you haven't seen it and you want to learn more about Prophet Solomon according to Islam. Definitely check that one out. But the 3 main sections are Solomon as a king, Solomon's visit by the Queen of Sheba, and of course Solomon's extraordinary gifts of being able to talk to animals and birds and command the jinn. Very, very, very fascinating story associated with the Prophet Solomon. Yusuf, aka Joseph, comes in at number 6. Muslims believe that God revealed this story to the Prophet Muhammad when an Israelite asked him to tell him what he knew about Joseph. Stories in the Quran are usually told in small bits and made known over several different chapters. Now, the story of Joseph, however, is very unique. It was revealed in one complete chapter from the beginning all the way to the end, and it's a complete story and the experience of the prophet Joseph all in one shot. In the Quran, it tells the story of Joseph's happiness, his troubles and sorrows, as well as we follow him throughout the years and see how his life really develops, how he shows devotion to his religion and exercises patience, and at the end he's blessed greatly. And the story of Joseph, it's unique. It starts off with a dream and ends with the dream's interpretation. By the way, we also did a video specifically about the prophet Yusuf, aka Joseph, in Islam. Definitely check that one out as well. But with that, we've reached halfway in this episode. We saw 5 prophets in Islam. We got 5 more influential prophets to take a look at. But before we continue, just a reminder to leave a like on this episode. It really does help, and it also shows your support. Now, if it's your first time here to FTD Facts, go ahead, hit that subscribe button and ring that bell to be notified of our daily episodes. We want you to come back and keep on learning with us about the different countries, cultures, religions, people. So if any of those topics interest you, definitely stick around. Now, the prophet at number 5 is Nuh, aka Noah. Noah was a man who lived among unbelievers, and he was called by Allah to share a message of the existence of a single God. After many years of just preaching and nobody listening to him, Allah warned Noah of a coming destruction, so Noah built an ark to save pairs of animals, as well as anybody else that would listen to him to come on the ark. And in the Quran, Noah is given the title of grateful servant of Allah, as well as a true messenger of Allah. Number 4 brings us to Prophet Ibrahim, also known as Abraham. Muslims hold a view that the stories and the life of messengers of Allah, aka the prophets, are very good examples for how we should live our lives today. So it's encouraged by Muslims to learn and know about the various different prophets and the lessons that you can take away from their life to apply it to your life. And the Prophet Ibrahim, known as Abraham in English, was given the title Khalilullah, which means the friend of Allah. Now, Ibrahim was the forefather of many great prophets and is held in high esteem by all of the major world religions, Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. The influential prophet at number 3 is Musa, also known as Moses. Moses was brought up in the royal courts of Egypt, and he was sent by Allah to preach monotheism to the Egyptians, and then was given the revelation of the Torah. According to Islam, the story of the prophet Moses has been mentioned in the Quran in more than 30 chapters. And the mentioning of Moses is very unique. Like, he's mentioned more than 100 times with details about his story, but most of the other prophets in the Quran have only been mentioned very, very briefly in it. The prophet Isa, also known as Jesus, comes in at number 2. Now, Isa was believed to be a prophet of God and was born to a virgin named Miriam, also known as Mary. Muslims hold the belief that Jesus will one day return to earth before the day of judgment to restore justice and defeat the Dajjal, which is a false messiah, also known as the Antichrist. So although the role of Jesus in the religion of Islam is different from the popular view of Jesus in Christianity, Jesus is still held as a very essential and influential prophet in the religion of Islam. But of course, the most influential prophet of Islam had to be the final prophet in Islam, the Prophet Muhammad. Now, there are many verses in the Quran that address the Prophet Muhammad and describe his many different characteristics, which made him a great role model that Muslims look up to. In some of the verses of the Quran, the Prophet Muhammad is actually mentioned as a role model. There's one that says, "There is certainly a good exemplar for you in the Apostle of Allah," and that's in Surah 33 verses 21. Also, he's recognized as the messenger of Allah's revelation. In Surah 53 verses 3 and 4, it says, "Nor does he speak out of his own desire. It is just a revelation that is revealed to him." So that's it for this episode. That was a look at 10 of the most influential prophets in Islam. Be sure to let me know your thoughts and comments down below. And also, if you want to see more FTD Facts episodes about the different prophets in Islam as well as the prophets in different religions, let me know down below. But we'll definitely produce those videos if you guys want to see them. That's it for me, guys. I always love hanging out with you, sharing facts and information, and then hearing from you guys. Stick around and check out the episode at the end screen, but I'm gonna get out of here so you can go do that, and I'll see you guys in the next episode.